back. I got to ask you something, America. Are you willing to cede our nation to a foreign invading force? What do you mean you say you're not? What do you mean? You are. We are ceding our country to a foreign invasion force. Did you hear what I just said? Our nation is being stolen from us by a foreign invasion force. You can disagree if you want, but you can't change the facts. The people that are pouring over our borders look at us as with utter disdain. We are nothing but a sponge to be leached from for their personal gain. There's a photograph, which I posted up on America's Voice Now and on our Facebook page this morning, that shows a group of illegals who are standing here giving us the finger, grabbing their crotches. That's the kind of disdain that they feel for us. Now, are they all that way? There are mothers and babies coming across this border that don't use that kind of body language. But I got to tell you, you see, it doesn't make any difference. We are under no obligation to. I'm going to draw this analogy for you. You live in a town, and there's an earthquake, and all the bridges collapse, and there's no more way for transportation to get in and resupply your community. And you've been wise about taking care of your family, and you've put aside a significant portion of goods and products to take care of your family for a 6-month period. Now, there are a group of people in your community who have not taken care of themselves, and they have not looked after themselves. Excuse me. And they know that you're sitting on a cash. There won't be any help coming for 3 months, for the period of winter. And you know that if you try to take care of everybody, your food won't last 2 days. Are you entitled to defend it? I mean, if there's no help coming for 3 more months, are you obligated to distribute all of that you've put aside to take care of your own family and your own children and provide 2 days worth of sustenance to everybody else who all had the same knowledge and opportunity you did, just frittered it away? Our situation here is similar to that. The United States is a wealthy country. These people are coming here with the intent that they can benefit from what we have. But you don't see a bank open its doors and say, anyone who wants to can have free money. You don't see a grocery store open its doors and say, nope, the cash registers are off today. Anybody can have anything they want. You don't see a store open up its doors and say, we're going to allow 2% of people to take whatever they want. No questions asked. You cannot commit suicide to help someone else. You cannot immolate yourself on the altar of altruism to save someone else. Especially someone you don't even know. Especially someone who looks at you with utter disdain. Especially as someone who looks at you as a target. Someone or something to be fleeced. Now let's take that scenario and change it around a little bit. You've got a community of 1,000 people. They all want what you have. Most of them are saying, listen, we'd really appreciate it if you'd just help us all out. And you know that if you feed those 1,000 people, it's only going to last 2 days. But there's a couple in that group, 10, 20, who are standing up and saying, either you give it to us or we're going to kill you and your family and come and get it. What option do you have? Well, the first thing you do is remove them from the equation, whatever that takes. Why? Because they will generally and eventually get everybody else to think in a mob mentality. And if you don't think what's going on throughout all of South America is a mob mentality, you're smoking dope. The newspapers down there are touting amnesty. Amnesty promised by Barack Obama, the President of the United States. Free entry, free health care, free food, free welfare, free citizenship. They won't arrest you. They won't remove you. You're free to come, and you're free to stay. And when you get there, they're going to give you food. They're going to give you clothing. They're going to pay your electric bill. They're going to take you to the doctor and make sure that you're taken care of. Are you kidding me? Who obligated you? Who obligated me to bereft and bankrupt ourselves for people that we don't know, who live thousands of miles away from here? We're the most generous nation in the world, but there is a time, ladies and gentlemen, where you must call a halt to it. And we are way over that boundary. Jay Johnson, the traitor who runs Homeland Security, he came out and he said, he admitted that there's a need for border reform. But he says he readily acknowledges there's a problem with the border that needs fixing, which is a departure from Janet Napolitano and her position. She said she never would admit to that. But the truth is, if you listen to the people who are on the border, they're all telling us the same thing. We are overwhelmed. We are hammered. There's nowhere for us. The conditions, I mean, listen, folks. It's so overwhelming. They're just dropping them off at bus stations and saying, you're free to leave. They have no idea whether we'll ever be able to stop them. They don't care. The simple truth is, Barack Obama is transforming our nation, and he's doing exactly what he promised he would. Fundamental transformation of our nation. And it's time for him to be arrested for it. I'm saying it flat out, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not couching it behind some soft and nice talk about maybe we ought to impeach him and all of that. I'm telling you flat out, this piece of trash has to be arrested and his activity has to be stopped. That's what you do with a dangerous criminal. Not because you want to hurt him, because you want to prevent him from hurting others, hurting someone else. That's why you take drastic action to remove a dangerous predator from the community. Not because you want to hurt that person, not even as punishment, but as a protective measure. And here's the problem. You're never going to impeach Barack Obama. You won't. Even if they get the Senate back in 2014, you will not impeach Barack Obama. There won't be enough time. It takes years. And that's assuming everybody's on board, and they ain't. I'm going to tell you something right now. Either this nation locks down its borders with military and lines them up with weaponry that says, if you're found crossing the border, you will be terminated. We don't have an alternative, folks. It has to be look, it's reached critical mass. We cannot take them in. I mean, if you want to try to do it non-violently, then the only thing you can do is trap them, literally throw them in the back of a vehicle, haul them to an airport, and go drop them off wherever they came from. Identify what country they're from, pull up to that country, fly into an airport, open the door, push them out onto the jetway, shut the plane up, and leave. That's it. Let their government deal with them. They're not our problem. I don't want to be insensitive, but I don't want to see my kid die, starve, bankrupted, my business destroyed, my healthcare system ruined, my fiscal welfare system ruined for my own neighbor who I know is really, truly hurt and needs it, over somebody I don't know, who not only that looks at me with utter disdain and disrespect and absolute unmitigated hatred. What's so hard to understand? I don't know who you can attribute the quote to that says charity begins at home. But it begins at home. And I got to tell you, unless we are prepared to seize and lock that border down, and I mean lock it down tighter than a gnat's rear end, we can expect that this influx of people, and it can't just stop with that. It cannot. Our immigration policy has to be very clear. You've got 1 year to register, and if you are unwilling to do that, and we catch you here after that registration window is expired, you're done. You're out. We're just taking you, we're throwing you on an airplane, and we're dropping you off wherever you came from. And by the way, that doesn't account only for the people in South America and Mexico. That accounts for everybody in every foreign country. I don't care where you're from. You overstay your green card, you're out. Your visa, you're out of here. And I don't care if we're going to take you back to a country where you're tormented, or because you know what, we don't believe it anymore anyway. There are truly very few countries where someone is legitimately escaping. I mean, if you're telling me that you are entitled to special political asylum because you're gay, and if we send you back to Russia, Putin might smack your little weenie with a ruler. You know what? I'm sick of it. I don't care. I don't care. It's got to stop. This is our nation. We cannot allow it to be overrun. We cannot allow an invasion. And that is what this is. An absolute unmitigated invasion of enemies. And I got to tell you, if you think there are not a vast and massive number of sleeper terrorists who are sneaking across that border, you're a fool. Our country is loaded with them. They already know beyond a reasonable doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, that a lot of the people that are coming across the Mexican border, they're Islamic militants who costume themselves as South Americans. From pick your country, it doesn't make any difference. Did you know that? No. You know why you don't know that? Because the mainstream media isn't telling you that. And they're not telling you that for a reason. I mean, if Americans knew that, we'd be up in arms. And our weepy, teary, oh, we've got to help them. They're just innocent babies. Hey, listen, I get it. The world's full of innocent babies. But we cannot just empty our nation to take care of all the innocent babies. We're not God. And the truth is, these people who call themselves our leaders, they don't have a right to play God with our lives and our future. They don't have a right to play God with your future, your business, your family, your health care, your taxes, your income. They don't. You didn't authorize that. Show me where in the contract it says Congress has the right to strip you of your wealth and your sovereignty as a human being and give it away to someone else. someone you don't know, someone who despises you, someone who hates you, someone who looks upon you as nothing more than a mark. Show me where it says that. Pull the contract up. I want to see that clause. Doesn't exist. You think our founders would have put up with this nonsense? Think they would have allowed this to go on? What do you think they would have done? How do you think they would have reacted? They gave border security to the federal government as a delineated, limited authority. Why? Well, because the federal government was in a better position to just do it than one state at a time. And that was obvious. But when the federal government has failed, utterly failed, and is in fact working against the benefit of the 50 states, it's time for the 50 states to say, you know what, you're finished. You're done. That's it. We've given you all the opportunity, and now you have actually sold us down. You've become a traitorous, treasonous entity. You are betraying your duty to us, and you are working against our best interest. You don't believe that's true? Ask Texas and Arizona. Ask Oklahoma. They're dumping them all over the country. Oklahoma can't take care of Oklahomans. Texas can't take care of Texans. Arizona can't take care of their own Arizonans. How are they supposed to take care of a massive influx of people who are absolutely destitute? And how are the people who live in that state supposed to support that? They can't take care of themselves. They're on the edge of financial and utter destruction and ruin as well. Listen, this is the fundamental transformation you were promised, and you're getting it good and hard. And the only way that you're going to end this is force it to end, and you're going to have to force it to end with force. You got to remove Barack Obama as president, and he's got to be arrested. He has to be arrested in a way that is comported and commensurate with the Constitution, but it must be done, ladies and gentlemen. I know that there's no clause that says you can arrest the president, but you can charge him with treason. The difference is we've got to figure out a way to charge him with treason and get him out of there, and we've got to do it in a way that comports constitutionally. I'm not enough of a constitutional scholar to tell you how to do that. But I got to tell you, time's up and we're finished. There's nothing left for us to talk about. There's nowhere else for us to go. We're painted into the corner. Fire them all. Enough is enough. I'm telling you, folks, this is the time we are at. We don't need to compound this with we don't need to compound this situation. Okay, let me start this again. Let me scrap that entire statement. Here's the problem that you have. We must be a defensive force for our country. It is our job to defend it. And we are out of options as to how we can accomplish that task at this stage. We literally are out of options. We can't, no one in a position of authority is willing to do what's got to be done. No one. And I frankly, I don't know how I don't know how we do it. I mean, I wish I was enough of a constitutional scholar to outline a plan and say, here's the, and listen, it doesn't have to comport with what, the Supreme Court, who declares themselves to be the final arbiters of the law, states. It doesn't, because, this law that they tout as the rule of law, the law applies. It's a law that's a shadow. It's a figment. It doesn't really exist. It's a law that they've created to corral you, but to them it doesn't apply. So if it doesn't apply to them, then it doesn't really apply to you either. It does not apply to you, folks. You see, they always want the top-down example until it applies to you taking responsibility for your own survival. And that's the fight we're in. We are literally at a point of survival, and that's all that's left to us. Survival of the fittest. We're either going to, as this nation, be survivors, or I don't know. The alternative is to just capitulate, lay down, and let them just do it. I'm not willing to go that way. You can if you want, but stop watching this program then, because I can't take that. I can't, and I won't. And I don't think most of you listening will either. All right, folks, we're going to wrap this program. I got to tell you, though, I don't know where we're going to go from here. I'm open to suggestions. You can email me at mike@americasvoicenow.org. But, we need a way to remove this man from office, and arrest is the only thing I can think of. Arrest for treason, because there's no time for impeachment left. All right, make sure that you visit our sponsors, including American Resume Service. You can find them on the web at AmericanResumeService.com. You can call them at 417-264-2486, and you can find them via email at info@AmericanResumeService.com. What they do is take your existing resume and they either rebuild it or they recreate it. And if you're in a position where you need a job just to be able to get out there, listen, I don't care if you need a job just long enough to gather some resources together for what's coming, folks. If you are sitting there unemployed and you have been unemployed for a long time or even a short time and you're out of resources, that's exactly what they want. That's part of this fundamental transformation. The best thing you can do is get yourself employed, gather some resources together, and then use it exclusively for preparing for yourself and your family. I mean that, seriously. And you can accomplish that with a good resume in a way that you wouldn't be able to. And listen, it doesn't have to be the greatest job in the world. I don't care what it is. But you got to have something. AmericanResumeService.com. info@AmericanResumeService.com. 417-264-2486. Visit our friends over at Battery Station. BatteryStation.com. All one word, BatteryStation.com. They carry all kinds of products, including every battery that has, to my knowledge, that's ever been made. There's hardly a battery I've seen that they do not carry. Some of the older cell phone batteries and stuff like that, they even have some of that. But in addition to that, they have flashlights, and they've got cordless phone batteries, desktop and digital camera batteries for laptops. They've got batteries for printers and all kinds of things. They have all kinds of electronic gear as well, including flashlights. They are one of the biggest distributors for ham radio, marine batteries, and things like that. Data handheld batteries. Pretty much whatever you need. They got every flashlight that you can imagine. There's almost nobody. They've got Pelican cases, Pelican flashlights, OtterBox cases. They've got these great waterproof cases. If you are building a bug-out bag, get a hold of Kevin and ask him for the 3-case special he's got. He's got these 3 OtterBox cases that are 100% waterproof, and they come in 3 different sizes. And when you buy this group of cases, they're ideal for things like a medical case. They're ideal for things like a fishing or a fire starting kit. They are ideal because they're completely waterproof and they're hard-sided. So if you have a need for specifically being able to keep something protected and waterproof in your bug-out bag or in your survival kit, this is it. Get a hold of Kevin. Call him at 417-257-7799. Ask for Kevin and tell him Mike from America's Voice told you to ask about the triple OtterBox case. He'll know what I'm talking about. He's got a great deal on these things. You will not be disappointed, I promise you. And you can't touch him anywhere else for that kind of money. All right. Visit our friends at Pizza Hut. Tuesdays and Thursdays, they have reduced lunch prices. Tuesday evening, kids under 12 eat free. It's family night. You can go to any Pizza Hut in the country, but this Pizza Hut in West Plains, that's the one where you want to go. Let everybody know that you've heard about it here on America's Voice Now. And if you can support us in any way, please do so. We are way upside down. Have a great day. Take care of yourselves, and God bless.